Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into, well, just a remarkable story from Japanese history. Oda Nobunaga, a figure who really reshaped everything. His journey, it's just this whirlwind of incredible ambition, vision.
Groundbreaking vision, really.
Exactly. And then ultimately this infamous betrayal. It really makes you think about, power and its complexities.
Absolutely. That double-edged sword.
So we're diving into some fascinating source material today. It chronicles Nobunaga's final, relentless push for unification.
Right.
And this amazing architectural marvel he built, Azuchi Castle.
Right.
But also the surprising seeds of his downfall.
Yeah, and our mission here is really to dig into that rich history, pull out the key insights. We want to help you understand not just what happened,
Right.
but why. Connecting the military stuff to the cultural vision and, well, maybe even basic human nature, ambition, loyalty, it's all in there.
Definitely. And the sources we have give us this really deep, comprehensive look at that last phase of his ambition, his campaigns, the building projects, the politics. It's all part of that tumultuous Sengoku period picture.
It's a crucial period.
Okay, so let's unpack this first part. After Nobunaga crushed the Takeda clan, a huge victory, he immediately looks west. What's waiting for him there? What was the challenge?
Well, westward lay one of his biggest remaining obstacles, the Mori clan.
Okay.
And they were seriously formidable, deeply entrenched in the Chugoku region. Their power wasn't just military might in the traditional sense.
Oh, so
It was their vast territories, sure, but also control over vital trade routes, these key coastal ports.
economic power, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Supporting a strong economy and a powerful navy. Plus, they had this web of strategic alliances. They weren't going to be easy to just roll over.
Right, and here's where it gets really interesting strategically. Nobunaga doesn't lead this campaign himself.
No, he doesn't.
He picks Hashiba Hideyoshi, who, we later know as Toyotomi Hideyoshi, one of the great unifiers. So what was Hideyoshi's approach? What made it stand out?
Hideyoshi's strategy here, it's really a masterclass. It's about versatility. He wasn't just about, storming the castle walls. He combined sieges, yes, but also really shrewd diplomacy, even espionage. He was brilliant at psychological warfare, too.
How did that work?
Breaking morale, isolating enemies, sometimes using starvation tactics, weakening them from the inside out. And his logistics were incredible, sustaining these long campaigns in tough conditions.
Right.
But the key thing, perhaps, was patience. He wasn't reckless. He preferred to weaken, and then strike.
Can you give us a concrete example, like the siege of Miki Castle? That went on for a while, 1579 to 80. That wasn't a quick battle, was it?
Oh, absolutely not. Miki Castle is the perfect example. Hideyoshi didn't launch some huge, bloody assault on the commander, Besho Nagaharu, and his forces.
So what did he do?
He just cut them off completely, built this elaborate ring of forts around Miki, severed all supply lines.
Starved them out.
Pretty much. Just waited. And when it became clear no help was coming from the Mori,
Yeah.
Besho Nagaharu committed seppuku, ritual suicide.
A huge blow to the Mori.
A massive blow. It showed their weakening position, their desperation. It wasn't just a military loss, it was symbolic.
So this whole campaign, it's more than just clever tactics, isn't it? It sort of reframes what strength even means in this context.
Exactly. It really highlights this key theme from the sources. Strategic patience, maybe combined with some innovative thinking, can absolutely overcome just raw military power. It's about outlasting, outmaneuvering.
Right, not just outfighting.
Precisely.
Yeah.
A real game changer for the era.
Okay, so while Hideyoshi's mastering the art of the patient siege out west, Nobunaga's back home working on something, well, revolutionary. Azuchi Castle.
Azuchi.
This
Yeah.
wasn't just another fortress, was it? Feels like much more.
Oh, definitely not just another castle. Azuchi was, well, it was architecture as a political statement. It symbolized Nobunaga's entire vision.
Which was?
Unified governance, centralized power, sure, but also cultural sophistication, a kind of openness to the world, even religious tolerance to a degree, engaging with Western missionaries.
So it's a symbol of a new Japan he envisioned.
Exactly. A complete break from the past in many ways.
Let's get into the details. What were some of the features that really screamed Nobunaga's vision?
Well, the most obvious thing was the Tenshu, the main keep. 7 stories high.
7 stories.
Yeah, huge for the time. And each level was apparently designed to symbolize this ascent, almost towards divine rule, very clearly reflecting his own ambition.
Wow.
Inside, pure luxury. Lavish artwork by the best painters of the day, a real showcase of wealth and culture.
Yeah.
And right at the top, A huge mirror.
The mirror.
Yeah.
Our sources mentioned that. Apparently people interpreted it in different ways.
They did. It was quite ambiguous, likely deliberately so. Some thought it was for Nobunaga's own self-reflection, the ruler contemplating his realm and himself.
Okay.
Others saw a link to Amaterasu, the sun goddess, a way of legitimizing his rule through association with divinity.
Powerful symbolism.
Very. But maybe the most direct meaning was just supremacy. A declaration, I am the center of Japan, reflecting everything.
And what about the lack of a moat? For a castle, that seems counterintuitive.
Or
bold, even.
incredibly bold,
Yeah.
and completely deliberate. No moat meant absolute confidence.
Like, I don't even need this basic defense.
Exactly. A break from tradition, a statement of perceived invincibility. So Azuchi wasn't just his home or fortress, it was his political capital. It was a cultural hub, attracting daimyo, missionaries, traders.
Kind of a bridge between Japan and the outside world.
In effect, yes, that was certainly part of the vision it embodied.
There's this amazing building project, Azuchi. It really connects to a bigger idea, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's a perfect example of our second key theme, architecture as ideology, as political vision made tangible. It was Nobunaga's manifesto, but built in stone and wood.
Okay, so fast forward a bit to 1582. Nobunaga is, essentially the ruler of Japan, right? De facto leader.
Pretty much, yeah. He controlled vast swaths of the country.
And the imperial court in Kyoto even offers him a title to make it official. But he turns down the title of shogun. Why? That seems like the ultimate goal for someone like him.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Declining the shogun title was probably a very calculated move. He likely didn't want the constraints, the historical baggage that came with that specific title.
He wanted to define his own power.
Exactly. Something new, not bound by the old rules. But interestingly, he still controlled Kyoto. He restored temples, supported court rituals.
So showing respect for tradition while simultaneously breaking from it.
Precisely, a delicate balancing act. Aligning with heritage while forging this completely new path.
But beneath all this apparent success, this peak of power, trouble was brewing.
Yeah.
Resentment, fractured loyalties.
Yes. Quietly, but definitely. Despite all the victories, the seeds of betrayal were being sown within his own inner circle.
How so? What was causing it?
Nobunaga's leadership style could be incredibly harsh. Reports of severe discipline, even public humiliations of loyal subordinates.
Oof, not great for morale.
Not at all. Plus, his disregard for some samurai traditions, his focus on centralizing power away from the feudal lords, his reliance on newer things like gunpowder weapons, it rubbed a lot of the traditionalists the wrong way. Alienated key people.
And this brings us to, well, the main figure in the betrayal plot, Akechi Mitsuhide. Who was he and what pushed him over the edge?
Mitsuhide was a veteran general. He'd served Nobunaga loyally for a very long time.
Okay.
But according to the sources, he suffered repeated humiliations, public slights from Nobunaga, things that chipped away at that loyalty over years.
So it wasn't one single event, necessarily.
Probably an accumulation. That loyalty eroded into bitterness, maybe a feeling that his past service counted for nothing against Nobunaga's authoritarian control and whims. It became this really dangerous gamble on Nobunaga's part, assuming that loyalty was unbreakable.
Right, underestimating the resentment.
Exactly. So just as Nobunaga seemed untouchable, at the absolute peak of his power, this deep resentment was simmering, especially with Mitsuhide, setting the stage for the infamous incident at Hanninji.
And this tragic end really drives home those final key themes from our source material, doesn't it?
It really does. First, that internal problems, those fractures within your own ranks, can be far more dangerous than any enemy outside the gates. And second, that innovation, militarily, politically, culturally, can fuel incredible expansion, incredible change.
But there's a cost.
But it often comes at a significant cost, sometimes, as we see here, a fatal one.
So recapping this deep dive, we've seen how strategic patience, like Hideyoshi's, can beat brute force. We've seen how architecture, like Azuchi Castle, can embody a leader's grand vision. And crucially, how even at the absolute zenith of power, internal rot, those hidden resentments, can be the most dangerous threat of all.
Yeah, connecting it all, you get this really nuanced picture of visionary leadership. You see the brilliance, the ambition.
Absolutely.
But also how that same drive, when it becomes unchecked, maybe too ruthless, can turn volatile. Nobunaga's story is this incredible coalescence of tactical genius, cultural openness, huge ambition, all leading to one of Japan's most pivotal and ultimately tragic moments.
And for you, the listener, maybe something to think about. How often do the very qualities, the very forces that bring a leader to the absolute height of their power also contain the hidden seeds of their downfall? What can Nobunaga's story, this incredible rise and dramatic fall, teach us about that really delicate balance between ambition, control, and loyalty?